Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Horror Show. Show that dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other cult classics. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
Ran out of breath there. Breathing
You're right.
heavy. Episode. We are at episode 399.
Oh, no shit.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
What are we doing for 400?
Of course, nothing, because we never think of these things in advance. I was like editing, and I was like, oh, fuck. Probably should have caught this earlier on. 400 episodes next week for Paranormal Activity 2. What a way to ring in the anniversary. What is it? An anniversary? A milestone, not an anniversary. Yeah, 400 fucking, that's so many fucking episodes.
Yeah, there's people out there that have listened to us 400 different times.
And more, because then they're like, I'm going back and re-listening to, that's like the number one message I get now in the emails is like, hey, I'm on my like fourth playthrough. I'm like, what? That's fucking nuts. Wait, so let's just say 400 times, we'll put an hour and a half. You think that's our average? No.
Yeah, probably. Well,
yeah, maybe an hour and a half. We'll say, because we have long ones too. Let's do that. So that's 10 days, 10 full days. If we were, that's fucking nuts. I hope our family and friends, I will not share that statistic with them. Like, oh, very cool. Like, yeah, didn't feel like anything. And they're like, yeah, it felt like a lot to us. Oh, man. So we are in found footage month, finally. We were going to do the Wendigo. However, after very brief research, I pulled the plug on the Wendigo. And I think that's the right decision to make.
I was going to ask, after watching this, do you still feel that way?
Yes. Mixed bag.
You and I haven't talked about this movie. Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
and I haven't talked about our thoughts of this movie or anything about it beforehand. I just had a feeling this isn't your cup of tea.
No, I actually fuck, it's so weird. I have a weird dynamic with it. But I want to start with you actually, because you mentioned in the chat that you had seen it already.
Yes.
I thought was interesting.
I watch no movies.
Right. And you were like, oh yeah, I've seen that. And I was like, what the fuck? How did you see it? You heard about it?
Yeah. I watched it last year and I saw a lot of people putting it on their best of lists, and I don't know, it caught my attention. I checked it out.
Yeah, it was I guess it was kind of a big deal 2 years ago. The 2022 it came out. So I put it on last night. Last night we actually recorded an interview, which will be running in a couple weeks for found footage. It'll run during the week we usually take off, so it's not like you miss an episode or anything like that. So that'll fill in that space. But we recorded an interview. We'll save it till the end. But recorded an interview, ends at like 11. And I was like, I couldn't sleep because I drink fucking coffee to like get up for the show and be on, and that's psychotic and it's killing me. But I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna throw Deadstream on while I'm sitting here fucking around until I go to sleep, just to like absorb some of it. And I liked it to a point, and then I was like, I don't think I like this movie very much. And then I was like kind of down on it. And then, so today I watched it again, fully invested. And I really like it. I fucking love it. I like, but there's also what fully swung me. So I was watching it and I really liked it. I love the like first 30 minutes. I think the first 30 minutes are like insane. And then when it gets a little goofier, I get a little less into it. But the second watch, I was like, okay, I like this. I actually do like this, but it's still... But then I started like reading about the director and the writer and that whole crew that made this. And then I was just in love with it. And then I fell like fully in love with it. And I even want to like shout out because I think I might even go buy the fucking Blu-ray special edition they released because it's got all this like behind the scenes footage of the making of it. And there's one piece of behind the scenes stuff that's on YouTube that you can find. And it's fucking fascinating. And they did it on next to nothing budget.
Yep.
And they did such a good fucking job with this movie. Did we say it was Deadstream? Yeah, we said it was Deadstream.
Yeah, we did.
All right. I love it. I love it. I really love it. And it's like after it ended, the time just like kept going, and I was just like, I really fucking like that movie. Like I really like that movie.
Yeah, it's weird because for found footage, I know I said it last year, it has to be typically really believable for me to buy into it, and I don't like when it's super polished. And this is like the most polished digitized
It's very
found
polished,
footage movie I've ever seen. But the goofiness of it, like I don't know, it's just fun. It's just a fun movie, and this might be a hot take, but like with all the movies that people are raving about these days, they're also like gloomy and dreary and dark. I miss fun and horror, and this one, there's a lot of Evil Dead 2 worship, and they just seemed like they had a fun time, and I had a fun time watching it.
So there's just it seems to be there's just like two things in horror now. Like I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of in between. That's really good, but there's that super gloomy horse shit that it's just like everywhere, and they're building in really deep themes of like trauma or other awful things, abuse and shit. And I get the value of that, but it's not exactly the most fun thing to watch.
Right.
And then there's these other movies, and I talked about this recently because I did I'm on Patreon, I'm going through I'm ranking the best movies from 2024, but I'm kind of doing it in chunks where I'm watching them, rating them, and then the next episode I'll do like another batch and be like, okay, so now my ratings have shifted because of these movies have like entered the fray of this. So so I've been catching up, and there's movies, and man, it's hard to I can only think of one example now, but I know there's a lot, and I hope I can articulate this. Frankie Frico, have you seen the trailer for that with the puppets and stuff?
I've seen the trailer. I haven't seen the movie.
Okay. It's movies like that. It's movies, I guess I would put Christmas, Bloody Christmas in that vein-ish, where they want to do this vintage style thing. They want to do this 80s thing, which is now becoming a little played out. But and again, and to your point, it's kind of like a worship of these things. But they don't do anything fun or new in it. They're just like, oh, let's just do that in 2025, and it'll be like grosser and have more curses and things like that, and it's a very polished, and I don't know, it just they're not great movies either. They're just period not great movies, and it just feels I kind of hate them. I kind of hate this. I do, and I feel bad because they're all low budget, and I appreciate that and stuff, these filmmakers trying to do it, but like, okay, you can do that, but come up with something unique in it that'll make me be like, all right, yeah, I'll buy into that. Like, I don't want to see that. It's kind of like the same shit. And this team, the husband and wife here, they're Joseph and Vanessa Winter, who made this. It's awesome. It's awesome, and it's unique, and they put their own spin on it. And even though there's a lot of Evil Dead vibe to it, this is a different story, and it's a different way of presenting found footage that there's been a few of them out now, like Dash Cam and Spree, that are kind of similar, using like social media and stuff. But I think this guy and gal knocked it out of the fucking park with a true YouTuber.
Yeah.
A true YouTuber. And it makes the polished work because it looks like a fucking YouTube stream. Like, I watch these fucking guys with James now, like James, because these are the entertainment for kids now. So I'll watch these YouTubers, usually video game ones, and they're fucking goofy. They're fucking hokey. The way they talk to you as if you're there, but you're not, and interact with you. It's all very bizarre, and I kind of hate it. This guy fucking nailed it, like
Nice.
to a T. And to a point where I was like, I might hate this fucking guy because I feel like this is his personality. And then I started looking up interviews with him, and he's like the nicest, coolest guy in the world. He's just like very relaxed, doesn't talk like that at all, doesn't talk a mile a minute. And I was like, wait, this motherfucker is acting in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
and on a low budget where you're doing the directing and you throw yourself in as an actor, it's probably so much easier to play the like yourself. Like, oh, it's
Right.
found footage. I'll just play myself. And he was like, no, I'm going to do this fucking character of this YouTube streamer. And he fucking nails it.
Remember before Jake and Logan Paul were boxers, and they had their YouTube streams? Like that had to be what his inspiration was, because
100%.
so obnoxious, so annoying, and that's how I remember those two guys. That's how they acted all the time.
Oh, 100%. It was this over the top, but presenting it as if it's the way they really are. And you're like, get the fuck out of here. You're like, what are you doing? Like, this is fucking insane. I
You know what else
also,
about this movie? The jokes actually worked. Like
they're so good.
his quips are honestly funny.
Yeah, the comedy is very good. At the beginning, I mean, we'll get to it, but at the beginning, they're showing his previous prank videos. Dude, the baby Moses prank is maybe like one of the funniest ideas I've ever seen, where he puts himself on a river in a baby carriage with a pacifier. The baby Moses prank. I was like, get the fuck out of here. This is the greatest fucking thing I've ever seen. That was what hooked me. And it's like in the first minute of the movie.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just like,
The
this is so fucking funny.
showing his like rise to internet
Mhm.
fame.
Yeah,
Those were great. Yeah.
baby Moses. And
I'll apologize to the listeners if you hear me coughing. I'm coming down. I came down with something, so trying to mute it. So my apologies.
and clocking in at an hour and 27 minutes.
Ideal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ideal.
You know exactly what you're fucking doing. Like, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Keep it at this. So, it was written and directed by Joseph and Vanessa Winter. This is their debut movie. Joseph also plays the main character. He edited it. He produced it. He produced it with Vanessa, as well as the other lead who plays Chrissy, Melanie Stone, and Jared Cook. And they also made a VHS 99 segment.
Yes.
Have you seen that segment?
I have not. I haven't seen VHS 99 yet.
It kind of fucking sucks.
Okay.
but I think it's funny because it just doesn't and I don't know whether that came before this or after this, like in terms of I don't know what they determine debut by, whether it was its release or whatever, but VHS 99, you could feel, and regardless, it was probably filmed right after or right before this movie because it came out the same year, 2022. So it was probably filmed very close together, and it felt felt a lot like this movie. So there's a lot of like humor in it, but it's like about a witch coven that tries to bring a demon to Earth, and instead they go to hell.
Okay.
And then they are in hell with cameras, and then they come back to Earth, but
Okay.
not the strongest.
Makes you appreciate Ratma a little more, right?
Oh God, which one was that? Was that 94? I think that was
so.
I think that was 94. 94 was solid. 99 was 99 had the Medusa segment in it. That was dude, Medusa coming down a stairwell of a ranch house was just like, hey, I think I'm good here. However, I will say there's the new VHS one. I forget what it's called. It's called like Beyond, VHS Beyond.
Okay.
All alien themed.
Okay.
Very good. I really liked it. There's one segment that's not alien themed, and it has Justin Long in it for some reason. And it's awesome. It's great. Highly recommend
Check
that.
it out. All right.
Anyway, so they did that, but this was their first directorial debut, I suppose. And it premiered at SXSW in March, and then Shudder picked it up immediately and dropped it in October. So, and to great reviews.
Yeah,
I was very surprised.
people love it.
Yeah, it's
Even on Letterboxd, people that I follow that usually are pretty harsh on newer horror seem to really dig it.
I don't. It's hard to not, because the corniness is built into it. It works. It just works. I don't know how you pull that off. I don't know what the psychology is behind that of like being. I guess it's actually being funny is probably the thing.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's the challenge most people have. Is
This or
being actually funny.
WNUF? What are you choosing?
Oh, this in a heartbeat. I hate WNUF. I hate it so much. I think
I know
it
you do.
sucks.
I just wanted,
Oh,
wanted to get
okay.
you going.
I hate WNUF. It fucking stinks, and everyone loves it. Everyone loves it. Not for me. I like the concept of WNUF.
I also like if WNUF was
Good.
about, well, yeah, or just 15 minutes long, you know,
Agreed.
because like the retro commercials is cool, right? That's a cool
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
Seeing that is cool, but when it's 90 minutes of it, I'm like, enough. We're gonna wrap this up.
Oh man. So we'll hop into it. We're introduced to Sean Ruddy. Doesn't matter. We'll call him Sean. Host of Wrath of Sean, a very typical YouTube vlog, as we mentioned, type of person. And he just nails the fucking presentation. And we learned that there was some type of controversy that he ran into. He got into trouble, and he's even rubbing it in people's faces that all he had to do was post a crying apology video to come back.
Yes.
And get his sponsors back. And he's rubbing that in your face. And I also like kind of tackling that concept. And even though it's like an undertone later in the movie at the end, if you're like looking for that information, like looking for that concept, it's there where they're talking about these people that behave like pieces of shit, and then all they have to do is be like, sorry.
Yeah, I had said Logan Paul before, and I just like remember when he went to that forest in
suicide
Japan,
forest,
suicide forest,
Yeah.
and then got in trouble, got backlash, and then released like a crying video.
Yeah, no, it's fucking nuts. He nailed it, and this is like widespread on YouTube. There's actually a new documentary, I think it's on HBO Max, about the parents that like continually start losing custody of their kids because they make insane YouTube videos and abuse their kids, and then they come on and they're like, "I'm so sorry about that last video. We're asking for your free." It's like, dude, we're fucking. But you see the backlash in the chat where people are like, "I hope you do fucking die. I hope you kill yourself," which was interesting to see that too. And his turn at the end about the apology video, I thought was fucking great. And he has a line.
It was good. It was well written. Yeah.
Oh, he has a line. Fuck it. I'm going to talk about it right now because I really liked what he said in it, which was he's saying, where is this? That's the finger. Fuck. Damn it. He has this great line. Oh, he's talking about the incident that got him in trouble, and he's apologizing for it. And he's like, I know I apologized for it, because he's like, I'm gonna die here, so whatever. He's like, I know I apologized for it. I didn't think that would happen, but what I didn't apologize for was thinking about it in the first place. And I was like, that's fucking amazing, because you never hear that from these people. They're like, I'm sorry I did that. And it's not like, hey, I probably shouldn't have even thought about doing that. That's a fucking
I love that line too.
way of thinking. Like, why would I even think about doing Like, let alone doing it. Apologizing for doing it is one thing, but apologizing for even thinking of that concept that everyone would be like, hey, it's probably not a great fucking idea is fucking great. I thought that line was fucking awesome. But so we meet this Sean guy. Were you gonna say something?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Uh, and he reveals that he's been doing all these stunts, and I guess he claims that he's tackled all of his fears except his biggest fear, which is of ghosts. Now the ghosts is weird because he's like, I'm religious, so I believe in ghosts. And I was like, that's weird. But then somebody in the chat is also like, I'm atheist, so I don't believe in ghosts. And I was like, hey, I don't think ghosts are built into religion. I think they're pretty like adamant that that's not a thing. Right? I mean, the Catholic Church is funny because the Catholics, I mean, talk about supernatural shit in that book. I mean, there's a lot of a lot of wild stuff happening in the Bible that you're like, oh wow, that's fucking nuts. But ghosts, I feel like, is where they do draw the line. They're like, no. Except the whole ghost.
Yeah, there's ghosts.
But I don't think the Catholic Church is like, yeah, ghosts are roaming around.
Right. No, they for sure don't say that. I'm with you. I don't think it's a religious thing. I think it could be one or the other and believe in ghosts.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. Yeah. Or they're trying to hide it from us.
Well, there's a lot of stuff in that Vatican library.
Do you think there's actually anything good, or do you think if we had full access to it, we'd be like, this fucking sucks?
It did. I think that's not to unveil the mask, but I think that's the case for a lot of things.
Yeah. What's the fuck? Who's the author? What? It's just the you're like going through it, and it's the Da Vinci Code. It's Dan
Brown.
Dan Brown's entire book library, and you're like, hey, this fucking library blows. It fucking stinks. An Encyclopedia Britannica from like 100 years ago. You're like, this is kind of fucked. So anyway, so he reveals he's gonna go to this. He's gonna tackle ghosts. He's gonna go to this haunted house called Death Manor. And the editing is so well done. It's edited exactly like a YouTube video where there's like cutaways. He's like, I haven't seen a ghost since, or he's like, Ghost Dad scared me, or whatever. And then it like the fucking cover comes onto the screen and then like swipes away, and it does those like post-production zoom-ins that happen on YouTube videos. And
he puts in polls and stuff live.
Yeah. Oh, and I thought that was awesome. I think everything about it was fucking so well done. He must have had to just sit around watching shitty YouTube videos for hours and been like, okay, we have to do this. We have to do this.
Yeah.
He even included custom emojis in the live chat, which is, like on Twitch and stuff. Like, he did so well. He did so well. He and she, I should say. I don't want to discredit his wife on this because I guess she was a big part of it too. So, but anyway, he has to abide. One of the rules is he has to abide by whatever the chat tells him to do, or he won't get paid. Specifically, if they see something on the camera, he has to go investigate it. He has to go check it out, or else he'll lose his sponsorships, because apparently this is his last kind of chance, to get back in the good graces of the sponsors and not be demonetized, which is awesome. He brings up a ton, but it's also a great reason for him not to leave.
Right. Because in our, we had an interview yesterday.
We can actually talk about it. Let's bring it up now, just so it's not so vague. But we talked to Stephen Cognetti, of the director of Hell House, for Found Footage Week. So, but yeah, continue.
And he was saying it's really hard to find that balance, because you don't want the audience to be like, well, why aren't they just fucking leaving? Right.
Yeah.
Which is what we say all the time. It's like, I would be out of there so fast. So to your point, I like that they included that in here, because that is his reason for not leaving. he has a valid reason.
He has that reason for not leaving, and he's also a fucking egomaniac too. So he doesn't want to leave. So he's got this financial thing, and he's also got this element also where he's just obsessed with people
talking about him, watching him.
Yeah. And so it's this dynamic where you're like, okay, yeah, he for sure wouldn't leave. Like,
right.
He doesn't care. He does not give a shit about what's happening or if it offends anyone or anything like that. So
right.
I thought that was a great way to put that in. And then we go from his YouTube video to his live stream, and then it goes black, and then we see text on the screen, and it says, in October of 2022, a beloved internet personality disappeared in a house near Payson, Utah, while broadcasting a live event. And that fucking got me. I was like, okay, cool. Like, and I was actually fine with that. I was kind of cool with that, like setting it up. But then it's just him holding up a shirt that has that written on it. And I was like, fuck, they sell that shirt too. And there's a possibility I fucking buy it. I'm like so deeply invested in this movie now. It's fucking insane. But I thought that was fucking great. I thought that was absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
It was so good. So first thing, if I'm going to, I will find things to criticize on it. One thing that popped into my head was he has so much fucking gear on him and all these fucking cameras all over him, which is fine. I'm actually fine with that, whatever, because he's streaming. It's like weighing him down. He's hunched over in every scene until he gets that fucking backpack off of him. And I was like, God, I hope this guy's posture is better than this. When you first see him, I was just like, I can't look at this guy hunched over the whole time. Like, hit the fucking gym. But it's fine. His posture gets fixed later. So that's good. We find the house. It's built by Mormons. It's called Death Manor, which is haunted by a poet named Mildred Pratt. Yeah. Whose Mormon family built the house, and she ultimately killed herself, but we'll find out a little bit more about that later. This was a real abandoned house.
Yes. And they said that they felt it was genuinely haunted.
Yeah.
There's rooms that the cast and crew would not go into.
Mm-hmm. And as I was watching it, I was like, man, this definitely looks like an abandoned house. Like, for sure. For sure. Crazy thing. They went in and gutted it. They gutted it and renovated it.
Mm.
So I don't know how much they did though, because they basically said it was done for the safety of the crew and stuff. So I don't know if they just did the things to keep it safe and left everything else, because I don't know how they would get the wallpaper the way it is. I don't know.
Yeah, especially on
that shit looks old. Yeah. So I think a lot of it was left there, but I think the renovations were certain safety things and making sure floors didn't collapse underneath them. Great house though for it.
Agreed.
I don't know how the only abandoned houses I can think of around here are like those ones in Bridgeport that the train passes by.
Yeah. They've been abandoned for like 35 years.
Yeah, those scare me too. Every time I drive past them, I'm like, what sinister shit happened in there?
Or that's still happening.
It's still happening. Yeah, it's for sure still happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. There's also that abandoned hospital in Meriden. That's
right.
Kind of weird. Yeah. That's a weird one too. I knew a guy that was paid by the owners to just go in and repair shit. Like, well past, like, it was abandoned, but they would pay him to upkeep it so it didn't get totally destroyed.
Yeah, it's weird because like connected to it is a new hospital, but they still keep that one up. I don't know why they'll just make it a parking
thing down.
Yeah,
fucking nuts. Also, nefarious shit probably happening in there, but I don't know. So we're in the house, and he's playing this YouTube persona so well. It's just really going for it. And again, watch an interview with him because it'll make it the performance that much crazier when you hear him talk, and he's just very mild mannered, not loud at all, and what the fuck, and intelligent, and not even going for jokes in interviews or anything. He's really not that. So it's a testament to their writing and his performance. But anyway, he breaks into the house, locks himself in, throws the key into some type of sewer grate that's on the floor, which is so funny because I feel like in any other movie you'd be like, why is there a sewer grate in the living room? But we know that this house was a house.
Right.
And that's fucking crazy. That would be pretty fucking sick. Like the bathrooms that have the, the drains, so you could just hose down the fucking bathroom. It's like a fucking hose.
You're saying you want that? You want that?
If you had that in your house, that would be so sick.
Why?
Because if you have to wash the floors, you just, bring in a fucking power washer and just fucking hose it down.
Drain. Okay. I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't think I'd like it that much, but I get what you're saying.
I'm all about the practicalness of things. I throw that in the bathroom. I would love that. I would love that. Oh man, I want to tell a story so bad about James's bathroom, but I'm not going to for his sake.
Okay.
It was so fucking gross. I had to be like, hey man, I'm actually not cleaning your bathroom for you this time because it's so fucking vile in here. And he was like, okay. He was like, heard. And he went upstairs and cleaned it very well. So I appreciate him for that. Oh man, it was fucking great. So yeah. Where are we here? Oh wait, you know what? Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, we are back. So he breaks into the house, he throws away the key. He starts investigating the house. And not too much to say here, but it's just very well done the way he's acting like an obnoxious YouTuber, just trying to make jokes about everything, kind of disrespecting the whole thing, almost playing into the being scared about things.
Oh, he for sure is. Yeah. He'll do a bit on it coming up, acting terrified and talking about how he deserves an Oscar.
Yeah. And he does it so well. And again, James watches these YouTubers that play horror games and he loves them. But there's a couple that aren't too bad, but sometimes the way they ham it up is just fucking nuts. Hey man, just play the fucking movie. This is not fucking scary. Like, stop it. Fucking ridiculous. But yeah, he's doing a good job. He also references a duct tape wallet, which brought me back.
Yeah.
Remember when that was a thing?
I do. I have one.
Do you really? Did you make it?
Not anymore.
Oh.
No, I made it, yeah.
You did make it?
Yeah.
Fuck. I just never had the ambition to do it. Did you have like card slots in it or no?
No. No, it was the biggest piece of shit.
Do you remember our you know what I was thinking about for future reference for the show, since there's going to be some new outlets in the future? Buzz is a fine name. That's not his government name. I was thinking though we could use people's instant message handles, AIM handles, to identify them. So Snoopy 316, which he used into adulthood, by the way. That was
his Xbox name. Yeah.
Snoopy 316. What a fucking name. Snoopy 316. He had a duct tape wallet that, because everyone made kind of the same thing, right? With just the bill opening. And this motherfucker somehow made card slots and a flip up ID holder.
That's honestly impressive.
It was very impressive, but also the amount of time spent on that had to be outrageous because he used it for a long time. So it was well built.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, yeah.
What
Should've
what was what was Buzz's screen name?
He had a bunch, and I actually still have screenshots saved of his old one. One of them had his last name in it. I know that.
No,
But
that's not the one I'm thinking of.
man, I want to pull it up so bad right now. Oh my god, I think I can pull it up quickly. I actually think I can pull it up very fast because it's on my backup drive. Oh my god, I do have it right here. Hang
It's
on.
hard hitting stuff, but I need to know.
Yeah, we have to leave. We have to leave this. Hey, listen. After the live show where people were calling out people from our town by name, I was like, you know what? I think we're good. I think we're good. Oh no, it has his whole name for some reason. That's weird. Wait, let me see. Oh, could you change the way your name looked on it? They
I
all
don't
have
think
his
so.
they all have his full government name. Dude, one of them is Fish STS.
That's it. That's it. Fish STS. That's what I was
Hey,
thinking of.
I should probably send this to you because this is your friend Brian that he's harassing. Wait, can I read this one? Is that bad? Is that bad podcasting to read a AIM chat from fucking?
No, I think it's nuts that you still have it. And nuts in the best way. But that I think I talked about it recently. He's like the original internet troll, and that was the screen name that he pinged me on, claiming he was my freshman baseball coach. It was like giving me orders. I was like, wait. It was like the day I signed up for AIM.
Oh my god, some of these are fucking insane. Some of these, okay, but the Brian one, the Brian one is probably peak Buzz trolling without the way he would
Malice.
do. Yes, the way he could get under your skin by saying the dumbest shit, not even offensive shit, just so annoying that your brain fucking breaks. And you could easily just ignore it, but instead you keep engaging, which is just feeds him.
Yeah. We talk about all we talk about all the time. If he didn't turn malicious, which he did, like
Yes,
in his
like
20s,
Cartman. He had a Cartman turn.
he did. He would be like the funniest of all time, right?
Yes.
Like he was so good at that, just getting under your skin by saying nothing, just talking in circles.
Oh man, that's good shit. I'll have to send you some of these because I can't read some of them on there.
Please do.
They're fucking nuts. They're fucking insane. Anyway, duct tape wallets. Sean then gives us some more background about the someone in the house was named Maxwell who died there, and he was writing letters about a man standing in the corner that said "Pond waters still." He also plays his own. He scored the movie, and when I read that, I was like, a score and I found footage. He walks around with a tape deck, playing his own music, and I thought that was fucking brilliant. A brilliant way to include music in a found footage movie.
I agree.
That was so good.
Carrying it around.
Yeah, we learn more about the houses. 5 kids died. Lots of other people died. He plays a video from the 90s that you mentioned, these like media clips where he's like, well, I set up cameras. Here's a clip. And he does this perfectly too, because he plays this clip that sucks. It's like a little girl being like, there's a ghost here. And when it cuts back to him, he's like, holy fucking shit. That girl definitely saw something. And you're like, that's so fucking good. Like milking these barely existent things. I love that. He does it with an EVP too. He plays a video of like sounds where you can't hear anything. And he's like, did you just hear what it fucking said? It said mama. Like, that's fucking insane. He keeps exploring, and then he finds this weird hand painting of a hand type thing. And a little foreshadowing here, he says, if something happens to me tonight, it'll be because of this thing. And I don't think I would have caught it if I hadn't have watched it twice, that he had said that specifically about it.
Yeah, I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah, because I had watched them back to back, and that was when I was like still paying attention slightly yesterday when I watched it, and to hear him say it this early, where he's like, "Yeah, this is going to be the death of me," and then later we find out it's a very important factor in all of this.
Yes.
um, and we get more details on Mildred. She fell in love with a publisher named Lars, was about to move to Boston, but Lars died unexpectedly, and presumably that's why she killed herself. And the thought being she kills other people now because she was not able to have a family when she was alive.
Yes.
Do you... Oh, excuse me. I should edit that, but I probably won't. Do you like the element of what Mildred is actually in it for?
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm pretty indifferent to it, to be honest with you.
It's one of those things where it's so old timey that you're like, get the fuck out of here. But there were fucking egomaniacs back then. I mean, there were people that just wanted to be celebrities. I mean, people fucking went over Niagara Falls in a fucking barrel, even though everyone would die, and they were like, it's not going to happen to me.
Yeah, correct. Correct.
So, you know, these people have existed for a long time. It's not just a new thing.
It's actually crazy to think about. Yeah. I'm thinking about that, like, for what? At least now you can justify it with like, hey, people will watch it. Before, like, you could tell, like, 4 or 5 people that you did it. Dude, like, some people might see it.
It had to have been like, oh my god, it's going to be in the fucking newspaper. You know? And people would go watch.
Right.
Like hundreds of people would go watch it. But I mean, still, again, it's
go watch somebody die. Yeah.
Which is also insane. Bringing your family to that is so fucking wild.
Ruining your kids' lives. Yeah.
It is so funny. It is really funny when you think about things in that kind of light where you're like, everyone's like, this generation's so fucked. It's like, hey, fun fact, we've been doing this for a long fucking time.
Just long time.
Smaller
audiences. To be honest with you. Yeah.
Way fucking worse. And not even that long.
Yeah, we can't understand why our parents are so like anxiety ridden, because being brought to like public executions. There were like serial killers would be like executed with an electric chair, and you could just bring your whole family and watch.
Yes, it's fucking nuts. And then somebody was finally like, "Hey, listen, maybe we don't do that."
Yeah.
The government stepped in
for people.
Government stepped in the 80s and was like, hey, might not be the best thing. It's so fucking weird. There was a guy that went over Niagara Falls in a barrel and survived. So then he went on a tour. I shouldn't say he went on a tour. But the Houston Astrodome was like, hey, I think it was during a sporting event. Maybe not. I think it was like the halftime show of something. At the Houston Astrodome, they lifted him up in a barrel to the top of the dome. And he was going to fall off in the barrel into a little pool of water in the center of the field. The Astrodome's fucking enormous. He missed the fucking pool.
Did he die?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
In front of an entire audience. So
that's once wild. Yeah.
And that I think was in the 70s. So I mean, again, this isn't recent memory, or it is recent memory, I should say, rather. That
right.
We were still. Anyway, Sean busts out the Wheel of Stupid Things, a gimmick that he does on his show, where he spins and it tells him what to do. The first thing is a seance. So he goes to a room, he tries to do it, and conjures something, because we start hearing some bumps and footsteps in the halls and stuff. In this scene, though, he finds a clown doll, and man, again, this guy just fucking nails the YouTuber that doesn't understand or doesn't want to understand why he's constantly in trouble. Because he pulls out the clown doll and is like... Should I be offended if clowns have whiteface? I don't keep touch these rules anymore. I don't know what the rules are in these things anymore. And you're like, fuck. You fucking nailed that person that's just like, hey, just shut the fuck up. What the fuck are you talking about? He starts mocking the ghosts with a prayer, and that's when things get a little crazy. He pees in a bucket because there's no bathroom. That'll come into play a little bit later. And a great aspect of this is we get to see the chat live.
Yes.
And it's on the side. And it's a great feature to have for this live stream. I think it's fucking awesome that they included it. They did a great job. The producer said he wrote over 1,000 fake chats. He wrote all the chats for it. And it's really cool to see, and it's cool to see what they wrote, because I think they got the internet dynamic perfect. Even when things get insane, they're like, this is fucking bullshit. Like a quarter of them are calling the police. A quarter of them are like, go kill yourself. A quarter of them are like, this is fucking fake. This is fucking fake. And a quarter of them are just like, hey, this seems weird.
Let me ask you, if you were watching this, what would your reaction be? Because I'd 100% be like, this is bullshit.
100% think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out when I would think it wasn't, and I think it might be when he jumps out the window.
I think it would not be until it was on the news that he died. I'm serious. Like, I don't think there's any stream I would watch where if that was happening, I'd be like, this is real.
I mean, it would, yeah. Yeah. I don't know, but there's like when his fucking face is starting to get busted up. I don't know. I feel like I don't know though. You know what? Even if I did think it was real, I would not react in any way, because I'd be like, there's no way it is. But in my gut, I'm starting to feel like something bad is happening right here. But I'm just going to ignore it and not help in any way.
I mean, what could you do?
I know. So in the chat, though, people start freaking out, being like, dude, there's something in the hallway. There's something in the hallway. And again, a great element of using the chat, because he's acting goofy. He's being a fucking dickhead. And then he sees the chat and he's like, you guys are full of fucking shit. This is photoshopped. He's like, I'll prove it. Like, I'll go into the camera. Goes into the camera. And his face, when he's watching it, is so good. Okay. When he sees the clip, the panic that sets into his face is amazing.
This guy is good. This guy needs more work.
I agree. I think he's gonna get it. Him and his wife just fucking did a bang up job on it. But and then of course he freaks out when he sees the ghost and he hides in a closet. And then the fans remind him, they're like, you're gonna lose the sponsorship if you don't fucking go out there. And they're like prodding him to go check it out. And you see him be like, what the fuck? And he's like, all right, all I have to do is go there. I don't have to do anything. I just have to step one foot outside the door, because that's where he was. And we'll be good to go. So he does. And he starts seeing some real shit and hearing real footsteps this time. Like, doors are opening, footsteps are happening. He runs, he hides back in the room. The door opens, and in walks Chrissy, an obsessed fan of Sean's. She has a look about her that is terrifying from the jump.
I agree. There wasn't a moment, even in my first watch, where I was like, hey, this is just a crazy fan.
I know. And I honestly don't think it's her acting or the script or anything. I think that woman, because she's in the VHS 99 thing too. And she has the same look. I think that's just, her eyes are very big. Like, she has these very big eyes, these wide eyes, and she just looks nuts. She has that like crazed look in her face. I think that might just be her resting crazy face. I think that's just the way she looks. So I feel like I felt like they almost couldn't even sell her as being normal.
Real. Yeah, authentic.
Yeah. Because you were just like, I had the same feeling. As soon as I saw her, I was like, well, this is a problem. And they use the chat again to kind of as a way to keep Chrissy here, where he's like, well, you have to leave. And then he looks at the chat and he's like, oh, the fucking engagement is crazy though. And he's like, all right, vote for if Chrissy should leave. And they all vote for her to stay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they all vote for her to stay, which of course they would, because it makes sense. And I thought that was a great way to include her in it. They search around the house. They find a chest that contains a bunch of Mildred shit. Chrissy puts on a necklace, which was also kind of a weird tell there, where you're like, oh, okay, I think I see what's happening here. They decide to do a seance to summon Mildred. And when Sean can't do it, she's like, hey, don't worry. I know Latin. Just repeat after me. And she gets him to recite. And it's funny because he's like, I don't know, because I don't know what I'm saying. So I don't think I should say this. And she's like, it's fine. It means this. And he's like, all right, fine. Fuck it. So he does it. And we start hearing some real crazy shit. That real banging. The house is like shaking.
Again, Evil Dead vibes.
Very much. And he sends Chrissy to go check on it, but he doesn't see her in any of the cameras because he's got all the cameras placed around the house. He doesn't see her, so he's like, fuck it. He's like, I gotta go check this out. He goes. Good jump scare. What'd you think about the jump scares on this?
They're fine. They're spread out. They work.
I think they're awesome. And jump scares always get me, as they do most people, but I thought it was awesome. I thought they did a really good job. And to set it up, because he did so many, I don't know what you call them, red herring jump scares, basically, with the iPad, and so many moments that they build up to, so that way you're caught off guard on every jump scare, where you're like, oh. Yeah. As soon as you're like, this is normal, then you're like, oh, fuck. And Chrissy comes flying out. Good jump scare here where Chrissy jumps out, though. And he starts yelling at her. And he's like, this is fucking weird. Why do you know this house so well? You know where the closets are to, like, jump out of? Like, I don't think you're a fan. Like, this is fucking weird. He's like, you got to get the fuck out of here. And he's like, I'm going to Google how to exorcise children, ghost children. And she's like, I don't think that's a good idea. And he's like, why? And then this is when fucking all hell breaks loose from here on out.
Yes.
Chrissy fucking jumps on him and bites his fucking neck. And he grabs a piece of wood and just jams
Stabs
it
her.
Through the neck.
Right through
fucking
the neck.
Great.
His immediate reaction is so good, too. Because he's just being like, oh, God, I didn't mean to kill her. Like, please.
Putting a stake through someone's neck. The amount of effort that would take. But he does. He panics and he's like, I killed somebody. Like, get the police. Call the police. And of course, the chat's like, you're full of shit. This is so fake. This is so fake. It's so stupid. When he goes back out to check on her, though, she is gone.
Yes.
She is gone. And he checks the cameras. And now we see Mildred's body hanging from the ceiling in the hallway. But when he goes out there, it's not there.
Right. Love it.
Love it. One weird little flaw here, though, which is it's being captured on camera, but the camera from his POV doesn't pick it up. They're all cameras, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Unless, because that one was in like night vision mode, so you could say maybe it was that, but just something that stood out. Anyway, as this is happening, the chat's awesome. It's going crazy. And he's getting videos from listeners in the chat, and he opens one up of this kid, and he even points out, he's like, you're like 12 years old. but the kid has researched it, and, you know, we do lives, and this is like a real thing where we're talking about something and we start getting links in the chat where it's something we're talking about, and they're showing it to you. So, you know, this is what viewers do when you're doing something live. This kid sends a video explaining what that hand drawing was of.
Yes.
But I did love what I thought was fucking awesome, and there's details of it everywhere, is uh it's like this kid mispronounces pagans because he's 12.
Right.
So he's reading it and he says pagans. And I was like, oh, that's a
It's a
cool
good
little
detail.
touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
detail to do that. And there's also, if you look at the graffiti on the wall, you could see some people were trying to draw pentagrams, and it's the Jewish star. Like it's not fully, it's a pentagram, but there's an extra point to it, and you're like, oh, that's like a cool detail to do for a teenager doing shitty graffiti who's like, how do you do a pentagram again? So I think they nailed a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah. Great.
But yeah, Mildred's body. Oh yeah, I already mentioned that. So this was originally the turning point for me, where I was like, I don't know about this movie, but upon second watch, I was obsessed with it because Chrissy has now turned into a deadite.
Correct.
100% a deadite. She is not a ghost. She's not a zombie. She's a demon.
Yes. And I think you were saying before the kid looked up what he destroyed, and it was a Hamsa that was meant to
Yes.
protect against evil. So now that he's destroyed it, the evil in the house can, have their way with him.
Right, which I forgot to mention. When he ran in after he saw Mildred, he ran back into the room and the Hamsa was on the ground, and he started stomping on it, assuming that was the evil thing.
Right.
And yeah, to your point, yeah, that kid said it was the protection, which I dug a reason for it all. And Mildred / Chrissy, they're the same person at this point. Mildred is a deadite and is doing very deadite shit, like sticking her finger up his nose, which
Yes.
she loves doing because she'll do it again later. Sticking his fucking long ass finger. She got these long, gross fingernails. She sticks it up his nose. He manages to escape, but you see him on camera and you see like blood dripping on his hands.
Yes.
And he's like, what the fuck? And he checks his nose and he pulls out her fucking disgusting long ass fingernail that was stuck up there. Most Evil Dead shit I've ever seen in my life.
Agreed.
It's so interesting. I think you have to give him credit too for doing the Evil Dead worship. Not leaning into the Ash persona had to be very hard.
You don't think Sean's pretty Ash-like?
Maybe I guess he's not as Three Stooges, but I actually, now that I'm saying this, I think he is pretty Ash-like. But he didn't go the way of let's make this guy a hero.
That is true. He's not as stoic as Ash. He's
Yeah.
a bumbling idiot.
Yeah, he's a fucking dickhead basically the whole time, and you're just kind of on the ride with him, and you're like, oh fuck, like. But he doesn't have the coolness Ash did that like counterbalanced him being like doing Three Stooges routines with severed hands and shit. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I guess the bits, because it is him pulling out the nail out of his nose is very like his eyes are fucking huge. Like I would just pass out probably if I pulled a dead person's fingernail out of my nose. I'd be like, well,
that would be it, right? There's no point in continuing on.
But he pulls it out and is like, whoa. Oh, I guess he does have that element to it. That is true. He's trying to find the key to get out, but he can't. But he does find a key, which opens up that box that he found earlier. And inside is a rotten ass finger that he's like, that's disgusting, and just throws it away. And there's some cool effects throughout this that I think they did really well on. One weird thing is, though, the fucking costumes and masks that they used for some of the demons are atrocious.
Dude, at the end when they all are coming in. I mean, even the final shot, right?
Mildred's mask. The cop one was the most offensive because it's just like shaking. You like the latex is like shaking.
Sean, it's like when the turkey in Thanksgiving puts on the
Yes.
skins the guy's face and puts it over him.
It's just clearly loose latex on something they wrapped it around. It was appalling. I will say, great low budget. I appreciate it. They did the best they could, but that is definitely where they were like, well, we're out of money. So this is what they get. Uh, he watches another movie where somebody translates the Latin, and it reveals that Sean basically gave Mildred his soul with that Latin chant.
Yes.
Yeah. And the chat starts referencing the controversy at this point where they're like, I actually hope you fucking die and all this shit. And we never fully find out what exactly happened. We get some ideas, but at this point he's just like, I got acquitted, but no one mentions that. It's like a little resentment because they're like, you didn't even say fucking sorry. And he's like, I said sorry. But in the chat, you'll see things like, you put that bum in a hospital. And he's like, I didn't know he was sick. And then like still silent on the racism, like all these things in the chat. And you're like, oh, this guy's like not great. Which again is the difference between him and Ash, where Ash is like a good guy.
Right.
And cool. And while he's looking at the chat, in another very Evil Dead moment, he looks down at his crotch and Chrissy's just in between his legs and yells guilty and bites his dick.
Now, if a fingernail getting pulled out of your nose didn't do you in, getting bit in the dick by anything would be the final straw, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. 100%. 100%.
Add that to our rapid fire questions for the next person.
Oh, yeah. You're in a haunted house. First, she sticks a fingernail up your nose. Then she bites your dick. At which one is the worst, and which one makes you leave? And by the way, a teaser, we ask Steve Cognetti of Hell House LLC fame a very important question that was discussed during Japanuary. So
Yes.
make sure you listen to that because it's important content that everyone needs to be aware of. And you know what? Actually, to your point about getting bit in the dick, that's the last straw, right? And
Just jump through the window, right?
which people have been like, go out the window, and he's like, I can't, like I'll fucking die. It's so high up, like I can't. He's referenced this window before and been like, I can't go out the window, like I can't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And he even finds rope where he's like, maybe I could use this at one point. He ends up not using it, but it's referenced throughout, so it's a good play on like how high this is, and the cut to him flying out the window. It's so fucking good. I actually don't know how they would have shot that, unless he threw himself out a fucking window and like onto something soft. But he goes fucking flying out the window. It's a fucking great moment, and it causes an insane leg injury. He makes it to his car though, and doesn't work. Realizes the spark plugs have been pulled out. And he finds them, and he also finds a fucking worm man in the woods.
Yes.
Which is very odd. But it disappears because a cop shows up.
Yes. The cop that you were mentioning before that does not look remotely human.
Yes. So he looks
human, but it's an ill-fitting human.
Yeah, but I was about to say, I question whether even the real human that plays him in the first part does he even look human? I'm not even entirely sure. He's got this insane mustache. Not entirely sure that wasn't a prop either. But this cop shows up and he's like, oh, we got to get the fuck out of here. We have to fucking leave. And the cop's like, oh, you fucking hurt people, don't you, Sean? And turns out he's also a fucking deadite.
Yes.
I was gonna save this till the end, but I just want to do it now. Would you want to see a sequel to this movie?
No,
I wouldn't either.
no. I mean, what? Because it wouldn't be him, right? It would just be
Well, I
different
mean,
YouTubers.
his fate is unknown. You could,
I mean, he's fucked.
yeah, he is. But I just hope it doesn't happen. I hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I'm fine with this being one and done.
This has to be it. I don't want to see any more, and it leaves a lot of like unanswered questions, like what the fuck is happening. At the end, you're just like, oh, so this is something totally different than what what we thought it was, which I kind of like too, but no explanation.
Sometimes less is more. I'm fine with that.
Well, what I do like about it is thinking about it right now. What I really like about it is and sometimes I think about this with horror movies, right? Especially because like the Mangle expert thing, where it's like, oh, it's definitely this. It's definitely this Hamza. It's definitely Mildred's ghost. That's the big problem here. That's what's causing this. That's it. And if I fix that, then it's solved. And it's like, well, that's really like, how do you figure that out? You know what I mean? It's just fucking supernatural. And the end is sort of like, yeah, no, that's not fucking what this is. Like, it's a totally different fucking demonic thing happening here. This is just a truly a monster house.
Yeah, the worst house on the planet.
Yeah, Mildred's the least of your worries in this house. So anyway, so the cop is there. The cop is obviously a deadite. He hides in the car. He shoots. He finds a potato gun. Shoots, which Snoopy 316, another potato gun. This guy, Snoopy 316 to a T.
Remember when potato guns were like a big thing?
Oh my god, yeah, dude, I burned off like my eyebrows with one of Snoopy's.
They're so wildly dangerous. Why do so many kids have them?
It is fucking nuts how dangerous it is. Dude. So he had a potato gun, and for those of you that don't know, you just use PVC pipe because it can take high heat. And you have a chamber at the bottom, like one of those big PVC chambers for plumbing, and you spray aerosol into it, usually hairspray, and then cap it back up, and then you put something in the giant tube, and you attach a grill, an electric grill lighter that you could just buy at Home Depot, like the igniter button. That's in the top of the PVC. So when you click it, it lights the hairspray and shoots a fucking whatever you're
projectile
shooting, potato out at an insane velocity.
It will kill you.
A lethal velocity.
Yeah.
But what would happen is because of the aerosol and hairspray, it would get stuck on the connectors of the igniter. So sometimes it wouldn't light. It wouldn't spark because it's coated in shit. And so he was at my house and we were fucking around with it and it wouldn't ignite. And I opened the back barrel and I was like, what the fuck? And I'm like clicking it and then it fucking lit and it came out the back end. And I was like, holy shit, dude. And it just smelled like burned hair. Like you just smelled it. My fucking eyebrows were singed.
Jesus.
It made the loudest noise. It was like, boom. My parents oblivious to all of this somehow. Dude, imagine you hear a giant boom and then your son comes in and his eyebrows are singed and he's like, yeah, nothing to see here. You'd be like, hey,
honestly, I wouldn't ask either. Like, I don't fucking
you know what? You know what? Dude, that's fucking true. Like, do I even want to be mad about this? Like, I don't have, I don't have the energy to yell
he's
at
still
this
walking.
kid.
Like, I don't want to know.
It's probably a better lesson than I'll ever teach him.
Because then you have to think about that. Like, because if you know what you was doing, like fucking around with potato guns, blowing his face off, like I'd be worried about that every second. Just don't tell me. So hopefully you learned your lesson. Carry on.
Oh man, that's fucking funny. Well, he shoots this guy with the potato gun. I guess it kills him because he falls on the potato gun and then just slides all the way down till he's like nose to nose with Sean. Oh man. Well, while he's doing that, he's like going through the journal too. And this is when he has the realization Mildred just wanted a following. She was a poet. She wanted her poetry heard.
She's just like him.
She's just like him. And he's like, I've got an idea. We have to give her a copyright strike. And he's like, remember that time I forget what band he says. He's like, I used a Beach Boys song and then my video got demonetized because they put a copyright claim on me. He's like, that's what we have to do to her. It's like, that's kind of a weird thing. But then he pulled me back in when he said, let's go demonetize this bitch. Then I was like, you know what? I'm back. I'm fucking back. You're so fucking dumb that I'm all the way back in. Now I'm fully... Again, it's like the character, right? It's sort of like doing a copyright strike. You're like, oh, that's so fucking dumb. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But then you realize, oh yeah, he is fucking dumb.
Right.
He's a fucking moron. And then you're like, all right, cool. I'm back. He collects all of his weapons with his kit, his ghost kit, which is holy water and all these things. He builds a spear, which he puts garlic on the tip of.
Yep.
He takes these syringes that were there from like junkies that were in the abandoned house and puts holy water in it and takes the cleaver with him. And he is all in on finishing this woman off. And he has also found out through one of the videos in the chat, an old woman came on and was like, I used to be a nanny there and the demon of Mildred is dangerous. So I created this Hamza and that's what kept her away. And you hear the guy's filming like his grandma and you hear him be like, yeah, he destroyed that. And she's like, oh, he's going to die. Which I thought was awesome. And I also thought it was awesome because Sean's like, this is boring, like get to the end. And he's watching it in like 2x speed. And she's explaining how to create a new Hamza, which is drawing the hand. And of course, you need a sacrifice of the flesh. So he starts drawing the hand. He's given his final goodbye and his serious apology that we mentioned before. And it's heartfelt. It's like a real apology.
Yeah,
And
it's legit.
yeah. And he's like, I know the other apology was bullshit, but this one is not. And it's really cool. And he's ready to fight. He's got his Hamza drawn. He's ready to fight. He goes out in the hallway. He stabs the invisible ghost that's standing in the corner with his spear. Now, wait. I love this because, of course, he's still all about content. So he's like, he puts a camera on the spear and names it. What the fuck does he call it? It's like, oh fuck. Thought I had it written down. It's so good. The apology. Oh man, I thought I wrote it down. It had some insane name like Spear Cam or something. I can't believe I didn't write it down. But it's regardless, it's fucking cool because he's got this camera on the spear. He's stabbing the invisible guy. But then suddenly it flips and we see Sean and the ghost is now holding the spear and starts stabbing Sean with it. Which it was, again, so he could have gone a route with this, but because it's found footage, he couldn't. With the Evil Dead, right? You got the POV of the entity a lot.
Right.
Or like the camera like going in at Ash, that's the visual of the POV of one of the Deadites or whatever. And he incorporates that without losing found footage by being like, my camera's on it. Because that felt like a very Evil Dead moment too, of this spear like going at Sean and him being like, oh fuck, like getting stabbed in the legs and shit.
Yes.
And seeing Sean this way, it was a cool way to do that.
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was an insane visual. And then the lights go fully out and we hear, Sean, I want you to meet someone. Sean opens his eyes. They're fully white now. He's sitting in a bathtub of blood. he eats an eyeball out of it. But it's like this dual thing. I don't know whether she was possessing him or if he was just fighting her, but there's some struggle going on here where she's like trying to drown him and he's snapping out of it. When he finally does, this fucking mutoid man comes out of the fucking bathtub to attack him. What the fuck?
Dude, that thing. I'm trying to think of what movie it reminded me of. Fuck.
Oh, I don't
I
know.
don't have it. No, I don't have it. But yeah, no, I was not expecting to see anything that looked like that.
No. And again,
It's rough.
As soon as the guy as soon as the mutoid man stops moving and he gets to kill it, it turns into this saggy mask.
It's like a sack of rubber.
Yeah. But it's cool. He stabs him in the eye with the holy water, and he's like, see, it worked. The holy water fucking worked. And then he pulls like the curtain off over his face, and you're like, oh, he's gonna be still alive. Nope, fucking head explodes, covering Sean in fucking pus, which I thought was fucking awesome. Also, the battle damage Sean gets, I think, is fucking great.
Yeah.
And also very similar, I guess that's very Evil Dead-esque too, where it was like you watched Ash's injuries and they don't go
losing
away.
Limbs. Yeah.
Yeah. And like for Sean, it's the leg. They never discount that his leg is fucking broken. And I remember his eye gets shut at the end. His eye is like fully shut.
Yes.
And I remember I was like, what the fuck? Why can't he open his eye? And I forgot there's a scene where Mildred just punches him in the fucking face. Just a closed fist punch to the face. Which we need more ghosts just fucking socking people.
I agree.
Dude, ghost closed fist punching people is fucking awesome. I guess, man, it's really interesting, and I hate like just like gushing over this movie, but to pull off doing Deadites without it coming off as like contrived and shitty and a ripoff, it's hard, and they fucking do it. I love the way he did it, but it is like such Deadite shit. Like what other ghoul has punched people, and it's Evil Dead.
Poke people in the eye. Yeah.
Dude, like, just causing basic physical harm. Just like you'd encounter in any like fight with a person, like a human being, punching people. It's fucking crazy. Sticking your fingers up their nose, which I thought would eventually be revealed to be something they do, or like for possession purposes, and I think it's just to cause
it's just annoyance. Exactly. Yeah.
Which is interesting because one of the kids in the chat they send him a video and they're like, hey, I don't think she wants to kill you. I think she just makes you crazy until you kill yourself. She's like, I think that's what she does to the people that live there. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool concept. Like, just annoy the piss out of you. It sounds like something we would joke about on the show, like with a ghost movie. Like, just annoy you till you're like, I'm fucking done. I'm fucking shot. It's pretty fucking cool. So that head pops. He again starts trying to attack Mildred. Another Evil Dead shot of her flying through the air, jumping on him. He cleavers her in the head. I do love too that he very quickly realizes she's not going to die from what he does to her. It's just a period of like calmness that he can try and figure out a way out of this situation, which I kind of like. He's never like, why aren't you dead? Or like, this time I got her. After the first thing, he's like, I can't kill her. That's not an option. The killing is not an option because he hits her in the head with a cleaver and puts a camera on her head. One of the GoPros he puts on her head.
Right.
So he knows that she's going to get up. He's like, I know damn well she's going to get up. But now he has his iPad and he can see what she's doing where she is, which is another cool thing. And another cool point of view for us as like the viewer to see through her POV. which I thought was funny. Also, calling the camera, because he would always name the cameras, and he named it Mildred. Most horror show joke of all time.
Mildred.
The Mildred cam. Oh man! And then she comes into the room and he's watching, and he jumps out and screams, "Surprise, bitch!" Blasts her with a chair shot. Fucking wooden chair shot, just crumples a wooden chair over her head. Fucking rules. This movie rules.
I honestly, after talking about it, I think I like it even more.
Dude. Surprise bitch and hitting a ghost with a fucking wooden chair. Like, you know, Cleaver doesn't do anything, the chair shot. But he only does it to get her down so he could tape her down into the hand, the Hamza. And he starts reciting the phrase from the document. Mildred just laughs, frees herself. And this is when she punches him in the face. And Sean is now pantless. I think he must have taken him off after the bathtub for some reason, as if you wouldn't be soaked, your underwear wouldn't be soaked underwear. But it's just a great visual of this guy that just got knocked out by a fucking ghost in his fucking tidy whities and with cameras all over him. I was thinking about like how vulnerable you have to be as like an actor or maker of a film. Like, do you think he's laying there in his underwear just like, if this movie fucking sucks, like what am I doing this for? Laying here in my fucking underwear, my dick out, like just like, what am I doing? But it goes a long way. When he wakes up, she waterboards him with his piss bucket, which I referenced earlier.
Okay.
Puts a cloth over his face and pours piss on his fucking in his mouth. And then the dude, and that's bad. You're like, oh. And then he takes the rag off and she's just pouring it into his mouth. And you're just like, Jesus fucking Christ. Truly the most fucking awful ghost of all time.
I agree.
But he gets away. He's crawling away. She's crawling away. He fully gives up in this moment, though. He goes, "I'm sorry, I let you down," and he's succumbed to Mildred. But he finds that severed finger that he saw earlier, and of course he's just like, "What the fuck is this finger doing?" And then he's like, "Oh, a sacrifice of the flesh. Did not do that." And I thought he was just going to use this old finger to solve his problem.
I did too.
He does not. He takes the cleaver and fucking lops off his own finger while reciting the passage again, causing Mildred to be sent to the basement.
Yes. Blood-filled basement.
The blood-filled basement. Never to be seen from again. And he celebrates. He gets on his laptop and he's like, "We fucking did it.
He's happy about his viewer count."
Yeah, dude, he puts on a song. He's sitting there in silence for a minute and you're like, "Well, what's happening?" And you see him like looking around, and then suddenly it pops up like YouTube when you use like a real song. It shows you like what song's playing. It pops up Sean's outro song. Which I fucking love. Like the detail to that. It pops up and he's like, "We did it! We fucking did it! We survived the house." And then we see 4 of the grossest, weirdest little monsters just pop out of every corner of the house. And then connection lost. The stream has ended.
Yeah. I love the last one, the big stupid floppy head.
Dude, fucking insane. It was fucking nuts. All of the costumes were... Give this guy a fucking budget, though. Give this guy and gal a budget.
I'm with it. This was good. This was fun.
He did amazing. Acting in your own movie, which again, very Evil Dead-like, you know?
Agree.
They did a great fucking job. I was surprised. I didn't know what really we talk about, and that's probably why we went into more detail. I went into more detail to this, you know, scene by scene, because when you have a movie, which has always been what we've said a struggle was, but when a movie's just good, it's so hard to be like, oh, this thing happens, because everything that happened in this I enjoyed.
Right.
There wasn't a real moment of like, oh, that's rough. Like this happens for no reason. It's just,
It's also harder when it's intentionally goofy. Like if this was
yeah,
supposed to be serious and it played out like this, then we'd have a field day.
that might be it. Maybe it's the comedy aspect that's rough. Well, don't worry, Joe. We have Paranormal Activity 2 next week.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
A movie you cannot go scene by scene through because, as Joe's referenced before, Joe's referenced before, nothing happens. So glad I chose it. I just want to work our way through all of them. I don't know why. I just feel like we owe that to no one, really. I don't think anyone's really excited about it. But we've got a great found footage February, as I mentioned. So we're going to do, we have, let me go to the calendar. We have, I can't think of the name of the movie. Paranormal Activity 2 next week. We have Paranormal Activity 2. We have The Den. And then we have our live show on the 22nd, Creep, which is going to be fun. That'll be a really fun one. And then that week we will also release our interview with Steve Cognetti. So that'll drop the same week as our live show. So, and it's a great interview. I really enjoy it. I think, we've got some more interviews coming up to kind of fill in that gap week that we usually do. So they're coming out great. I wasn't sure how we fared as interviewers, but I think we're doing pretty good.
This one was fun. I had a good time.
It was, and we're really leaning into trying not to ask the same questions that they get asked in every fucking interview. So I'd say even if you've listened to him or seen an interview with him, it's probably worth checking out. I think we got him on a few things that he hadn't been asked before. So yeah. Joe really stumped him with who would you like to work with, past or present. So stay tuned for that answer.
It's true. Yeah.
Really bamboozled him. And then March. We haven't talked about March. We have March. At producer Lexi's request, we are doing March Garris month. So we'll be talking about some Mick Garris movies. So that'll be fun. Joe's gonna pick one. Well, we're gonna rotate picks for March Garris. So, and then April's wide open. So if you guys have any thoughts on April, shoot producer Lexi an email, lexi@ihatehorror.com, and she'll collect those and probably override them all for, I don't know, some pile of shit. However, I will say, before she became our producer, there were a couple picks we had that I was like, I remember you were like, oh God, she picked and they turned out pretty good. They turned out pretty okay. They were pretty good. They were pretty good movies for the show. So we'll see
which ones. Do you remember?
I only remember one was the dude, and I think we talked about it before too. It's like a summer camp one, but it wasn't. I think it's not Satan's Blade. Ah, fuck. They're out in like a cabin in the woods.
Just Before Dawn?
Yes.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was her pick. She was like, you have to do this. I was like, oh God. But I did it and it worked. So good for her. The George Kennedy vehicle. Is he related to the Kennedy family? He must.
He's not.
Oh, he's not. He's got that big old bulbous
alcoholic
alcoholic nose. But anyway, so we got some cool stuff coming up. So stay tuned for that. You know what's weird? I do not have a live show penciled in for March, so we got to figure that out. Got to find a Mick Garris movie to do. And I'll have a bonus probably coming next week, or probably right after this episode drops, going over some more of the 2024 movies that I've been watching, because I got a bunch to talk about. Got a bunch. Anyway, Founders Day. You see that one?
I did not.
It was shot in New Milford.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not a bad movie. Not great, not a bad movie though. So good for them. Good for them. New Milford. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thank you all so much. Follow us, patreon.com/I hate horror. That's where you can get the live shows, the bonus episodes. If you didn't, we did a bonus episode for The Grudge for Japanuary, so check that out. That was a good episode. And we'll be doing more bonus content soon. We've just been having like a crazy recording schedule, but we're clearing that up soon. So we'll have some more bonus episodes where you guys get to pick them. The Patreon members get to pick the episode, and we'll do like almost like a full length sort of episode on it. But we will do individual bonuses also. So when time permits. So check that out. Patreon.com/I hate horror. IHateHorror.com, Instagram at I Hate Horror. You can follow producer Lexi at Cult of Craven. And that is it. I want to thank Joe, of course, for doing the show, Lexi for producing, and all of you for listening. Rate, review, subscribe on iTunes. And if you do, send us an email, Sean at IHateHorror.com, and we'll get some stickers out to you for doing that. So we appreciate it. Also, Spotify has this new comment system where like people leave messages on each episode. Like it's like a message board. Like we could respond.
Are people utilizing it?
Yeah, there's a few. They're almost entirely positive, which is nice. I like that. That's always good for me. Good for my mental health. But anyway, yeah. So check that out. And people loving the new video format, so I appreciate that. So, all right. Anyway, thank you all so much. Thanks, Joe. For Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird.
Thank you.
Adios.